Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we're taking a deeper dive into our thoughts about an interview that Jeremiah has done.
Jeremiah has done a lot of interviews. I picked this one from Variety because I want to be able to read the quotes and to dissect what he's been saying. I honestly, even though Jeremiah, I do believe that he was game playing and things of that nature, I can't say that Jeremiah is not a character, especially near the end of the season where we actually got to know Jeremiah, at least a little bit about him. He became one of my favorite characters on the show, especially when he gave the thumbs up to Huda and things like that. Yes. What is your thoughts on Jeremiah before we get into these questions and quotes?
Yeah, I think he was our participant in the love bombing.
Yeah.
I think that he was silencing his real feelings about the child situation, about Huda, to go along, to get along, whether or not to see if the relationship could work or get to the money. So I think that Jeremiah did have his stuff about him, but I also enjoyed watching him. I really did.
For sure. Now let's read this interview. I picked out some questions and quotes in this interview for us to go over so we can talk about it.
All right. So Taylor said that they voted you off because of how you navigated exploring connections in the villa. What's your perspective on what happened and their reason for sending you home? He says they can say we don't want him to recreate old habits, but I had already communicated to them multiple times that I'm doing it the right way now. I'm doing it slowly. I never did what they said, but our values did line up. They're telling me to explore everything. Now I'm exploring everything, and it still wasn't enough.
Now this is new information to me. And for that, I have to give Jeremiah his props for this, right? If there was conversations behind the scenes that we did not see, that, hey, I'm not going to do what happened with Huda and things of that nature, that I'm actually going to explore other people, I do think, like, okay, what they did to him was backstabbing. They didn't give him a chance to even, like, prove him right, to prove anybody right. Basically, it was a strategic move, which I heard him say throughout other interviews and things like that. Like, oh, I see why they got me out, because I was hooping and things like that. Like, basically, like, the new girl came in, she liked me and things like that, and we were starting to build a bond. To me, I can 100% see Jeremiah's point from this.
Yeah, I absolutely can too. And I do think that he tried things with Iris, and Iris was into TJ at the time, so they both ended their situations. So it's not like he did anything out of the way when it came to really clicking with Andrina. And I feel like a lot of these people, the guys in the island, you know, are too focused on the gameplay and not about the love. And I think that's why it's kind of been I wouldn't say trash casa. I've been enjoying it, but it hasn't been a typical casa because nobody really wants to lock in and really express their emotions and where they're at and where they want to be with one particular person. Everybody wants to explore the whole 6 weeks. And I feel like Jeremiah was slowly getting to know Andrina. They were clicking, and it definitely wasn't to the Huda point where we talking about moving in marriage. So
facts. And even to the point right here, especially since Taylor want to be the one to give the speech and things of that nature, talk about he going back to old habits. Like, whole time it's been rumored that there could have been a potential bond with you and Bella, but you didn't explore that and things of that nature. So my thing is, when these bombshells come in, we see it all the time. Whenever they walking in, they say who they are coming in for. So to Blair's point, he did Huda. Okay, y'all say do not talk to this girl no more. He said, okay, I won't. Right. Then he tried to connect with Iris. Iris said it's platonic. He said it's platonic too. Right. So, like, who else does he supposed to go for?
Right.
Like, so that's why
your girl.
I mean, I hope someone will go for his girl, because he ain't going for his girl. Talk about Taylor and things like that. So for this one, I 100% agree with Jeremiah on this point right here.
Ace was one of the main islanders who consistently criticized how you explored your connections in the villa. Why do you think he consistently singled you out? And he said it probably started with me curving Yulisa, so she would steal him instead of me because I wanted to explore things with Huda. I panicked and thought, what can I do not to get stolen? That probably started us off on the wrong foot because he wanted to be coupled up with Shelly. We had many great moments together, but we didn't always see eye to eye. It could be intimidation. I don't know.
Here's the thing, right? A lot of things can be right at the same time, right? So let's start with this. A lot of times you heard throughout the season that, oh, Ace wanted Huda. Ace wanted a shot at Huda and things of that nature. Jeremiah feels like, hey, he wanted Ace. I mean, he wanted Shelly, right? And when they was doing the coupling in the very beginning, right? This is what I'm talking about. Jeremiah did a gameplay, right? To where, don't pick me. I already got the girl that I just chose. Mm-hmm. Some people can look at that as strategic, as in like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. Me personally, I'm like, guess what? If you want to start with gameplay, don't be mad when gameplay happens to you.
Because I can see that.
Because you was the one that did the gameplay with Ace first, right? With the whole not giving it your all to these strangers when you supposed to be giving it your all in the kissing. If you would have got coupled up with Yulissa and things of that nature, that would not have stopped you
from getting to
from exploring Huda. Mm-hmm. So my thing is, don't be mad when the rabbit got the gun now.
Oh, okay.
Right? That Ace actually got a shot to take you out because he didn't forget that, oh, you kind of didn't want to give it your all. You were scamming because you wanted to basically be in a closed off couple in the very beginning. You get what I'm saying? Now, I will say clips have come out to where after that happened, Ace was like, dang, I effed up. Basically, because, game recognizes game.
Yeah.
And Ace was just mad that, guess what?
He didn't think of it first.
He didn't think of it first, right? But at the same time, just because he didn't think of it first doesn't mean that both of y'all wasn't being game players in that moment. And guess what? Some would say this season is not as good because we got too many game players. If you're there for love, you should have just kissed the girl and express how you felt and things like that. But this whole I don't want to get stolen and things like that because I want to get to know Huda, it was a gameplay. And guess what? It is what it is.
So where do you currently stand with Ace, Nick, and Taylor? Respectfully, I'm staying on my side. I know it's a game show and I shouldn't get in my feelings about it, but what they said and how they moved, I don't want people like that around me. I wish them the best, but I'm good. I'm going to do my own thing. And I completely agree with him in that. Yeah, like this is a game show, but the thing is, on these shows, the people do actually bond and create these friendships. And for them to hold Jeremiah accountable, for Jeremiah to allow himself to be held accountable, for him to actually try to form a bond with these guys who kicked him up out his spot. Yeah. F them guys.
No, but I need Jeremiah to keep the same energy though.
Yeah.
Right. I need Jeremiah because I feel like Jeremiah, you got every right to feel what you feel. And truth be told, it's not like Taylor was any different or Nick was any different and things like that. I did feel like, hey, they got the best game player out in the sense of the girls wanted him. Oh, trust me, if Jeremiah was in Casa, both those girls, Coco and Clark, would not be standing next to Taylor. You get what I'm saying? One of them would have been standing next to Jeremiah. If not, a couple of them would have been standing next to Jeremiah because I'm going off of what Bella said. Bella said, hey, listen here. Jeremiah is gorgeous and things like that. So Jeremiah definitely would have been somebody that everybody would have at least wanted to talk to. And that's one of the main problems that some of the Islanders had with Jeremiah and Huda's connection because they felt like he was so closed off in the beginning that, hey, we didn't even get a chance to really put our hat in the ring. So I hope Jeremiah actually stick to his word with this. And guess what? He don't need to be friends with them. And I'm with that.
Yeah. Your strong connection with Huda was a significant focus this season. What characteristics stood out about her that made you have such strong feelings? When I first walked up to her at the bar, there was this crazy spark and we both saw it before the first coupling. We were having conversations where she said she was very level-headed, emotionally mature, and a woman of God. On paper, all our values lined up mentally, physically, and spiritually until everything happened.
Okay. I actually have no problem with this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You guys probably clicked, had a strong connection. She told you who she was. Later on, she showed you who she was. Yeah. But that's the thing where I get with Jeremiah is when she started showing you who she was, you didn't operate off of that. You stayed and didn't get to know anybody until everything hit the fan. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Huda was out of her doggone mind.
No.
She absolutely was. And
wrong.
I'm with one of the people who felt like she should have been reprimanded for that and removed from the island if she can't control herself. But hey, you were along for the ride until, the ride bit you.
Yeah,
so
pretty much. No, I think right here, maybe I need to walk back some of my scamming things when it comes to Jeremiah. Only a little bit. I only give myself a little bail out of jail because I do think there was definitely some scamming and some gameplay. But if he said there was an initial spark there, then I think this probably could have had the potential for it to be a real love story until, he saw the real Huda and things like that. But it's to your point with the whole thing of, hey, a spark doesn't mean that you don't get to explore everybody else.
Right.
When you felt that spark, that's when you started using gameplay tactics to do things purposely to push other women off. That's not good to watch. You get what I'm saying? That's not the point of Love Island.
It seemed challenging for you to fully engage in the whole experience because you two were so close. What type of conversations would you both have about standards and expectations, especially when it came to doing challenges and interacting with the other women? The challenges were tough. In the first challenge, I didn't want to do anything with anybody else because I wanted to respect her and focus on that. Then I felt like I couldn't participate. After the baseball challenge, we had a talk where we said we have to participate. This is why we're here. We can do the challenges. We'll be fine. We're supposed to be tested. We tell people who come in that we're rocking together. If something happens, we communicate that because we were never closed off.
And this is where it starts getting a little rocky for me, right? Because now it feels like, to Ace's point, and I'm going to give Ace respect for this, right? Because Jeremiah said in other interviews that he felt betrayed by Nick more than Ace and things like that. And even Taylor right? Ace let it be known how he felt about Jeremiah and their whole relationship to his face.
He did.
Right? Even if he could be wrong, at least he said it to his face. So you can at least know where he stands, right? But you're telling me that you're in a relationship, or you are exploring with Huda, not even in a full relationship yet, and you're not even doing challenges? Like, to me, that is gameplay, right? I understand that everybody has some type of underlying gameplay when it comes to being on a show, trying to win, trying to find love. But usually there is something to, like, you know what? I'm not going to do anything unless it is in the challenge, right? You even heard Ace over here when he was poisoning Amaya as well and things like that. He said, look, I don't really do kissing unless it's with the challenges. So now we get to see Jeremiah, who started off with gameplay in the beginning, right? Now he's not even participating in the games at first. And now they got to have a come to Jesus conversation to where they're like, look, we got to at least do something in the challenges. To me, I'm like, all right, like this, now it's kind of like you are kind of like, you are pigeonholing yourself for no reason, in my opinion. You know?
Yeah. I think the part that gets me is when he says, we tell people who come in that we're rocking with each other. If something happens, we communicate that because we were never closed off. I feel like the communication was lacking.
Yeah.
And I think that part of that is because Jeremiah says he shuts down. And I feel like there were opportunities to where he probably did want to get to know people or have conversations, but he felt like he couldn't. And I think that he put himself in that position as well. I don't think that it was all Huda, but she definitely made it difficult.
Facts.
And yeah, that's kind of pretty much it. I mean, yeah, you guys are there. You guys are there to participate. And it's unfortunate that you guys felt like you couldn't.
Yeah, so. Facts.
When America voted to separate you both, what message did that send to you about your relationship with Huda? It confirmed many things I had been pushing back because I liked her so much and wanted to find a way to make it work. That's why I couldn't confront her. I should have. It broke everything down in my head for me when that recoupling happened. America saw something, even if they were just being messy. At first, I was pissed. It broke me because I had just got to a good spot with Huda, but then it confirmed maybe it wasn't as solid as I thought it was. And I will say, he knew he was pushing down a lot of things.
Facts.
And I do believe that there are some guys, if you look a certain way, they will overlook a lot of things. And so I can believe that Jeremiah probably had that mindset. But because we're on a game show, it also comes with the question of, are you doing this just for the money? Because she's also asking about the future and you don't want to give any definite answers.
Facts.
So, hey.
No, this is actually the quote right here that confirmed everything about me with Jeremiah.
Yeah.
I understand people want me to be soft with Jeremiah with the whole, like, you know what, you know, she calling him out his name and things like that. But that quote right there kind of confirms and kind of embodies the whole Jeremiah experience right there. He was going along to get along.
Yeah.
And at what point is it cool for a grown man to go along to get along when he have objective things that he's worried about?
Right.
He told you out of his mouth that, hey, I should have confronted her. Not confronted her. I should have comforted her, right? I should have went and spoke to her. A lot of people want to give this excuse of he was on his way to the shower and to talk to her. No. He's telling you out of his mouth that if this was my girl, basically, if this was a real connection, I should have went to her and comforted her.
And he also said, I actually didn't do it because I didn't want to.
That's what he said out of his mouth. right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I am not going to basically hold back on my criticism of Jeremiah because number one, he's a man. Number two, he's a grown man, right? And number three, he has told us out of his mouth right here that, hey, I had some things, but really, even here, I didn't include it, but y'all should definitely read the article with Variety, to where he's basically like, they asked him, how did you feel about her telling you that she was a mom? He was like, it was cool and things like that. Like, I know it would have changed the dynamic, but I never spoke to a mom before, but it would have changed the dynamic. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, in what ways would it change the dynamic? My whole thing is, I think Jeremiah, at the end of the day, which I think is actual, when Nicholas said, hey, if this could break y'all up, she called you to B one time, she called you to B word one time, and this go break y'all up, I understand calling people out their names is wrong, right? But if the first thing that comes to your mind when America breaks y'all up is, what do America see outside of the real feelings that you say you had for her, I have to say you're doing gameplay.
Yeah.
Like I have to, in my opinion, say, oh, you got a little scamming in you. You got a little gameplay. And then at the end of the day, when it was time for the guys to vote somebody out, they did gameplay on someone who was doing gameplay themselves.
Yeah.
Right. And my thing is, as a guy, you are not going to go along to get along and be respected, at least by me.
And I will say that I think that Jeremiah's time in the villa was cut too short.
For sure.
I think that he had a lot more story to show. I think that if we're going to be subjected to Huda's redemption arc, then we should be able to see where Jeremiah lands himself to.
Facts.
And, it's the end of his story here, but, he still has, a life to live.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Listen.
Props to him and hope everything goes well for him.
This is not I don't feel bad for Jeremiah at all in the sense of, like, Jeremiah's life's changed. Like, he is good looking enough. He has personality enough. He is going to land on his feet for sure, right?
Yeah.
And I will say, even though he was a game player, even though he may have had real feelings with Huda, he said everything changed for him in the interview. He said everything changed for him on Pancake Day, where he started to realize, like, I don't know if I can really stay in this type of relationship because I can't go along and get along so far, even though she's pretty, right? I think Jeremiah, even though, like, he was a game player, his personality was definitely great for the show, and the show suffered and things like that. Because since Jeremiah had been gone, I don't think I heard Pepe's voice, like, at all.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you got rid of the main characters, but, it happens. Check out the interview. You have anything to add?
That's it.
Hey, check out the interview, and we'll be back later on.
Bye.
Bye.